Our first speaker, inshallah, for tonight, which is going to be Victory Within Self, is our very own brother Rami Kawwas. Rami originally comes from Brooklyn, New York, but he's a Texan by choice. So now he's officially a Texan. He has a biology bachelor degree and currently working on his master's degree in human and youth development from Harvard Extension School, also working on a degree from Al-Qalam Seminary. He's currently serving as the full-time youth director here at Mass. A lot of ongoing programs that we'll be talking about that Rami and the team are leading. Rami is married and has two young, beautiful daughters, Jana and, and Maryam. So Brother Rami is going to talk, inshallah, for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. Assalamu alaikum. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله نشهد أن محمد رسول الله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ثم ما بعد. To begin, of course, as we always do, by praising Allah the Most High, the Most Exalted, the Most Honorable, the Most Merciful, the Most Gracious, the one we testify to, the one that we submit to, His Majesty, His Most High, and we testify to the prophethood of His Most Beloved, the man that He sent to guide humanity until the end of time, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There are three honorable guest speakers today, and a miskin young kid that is going to try, inshallah ta'ala, to convey to you a small reminder, I think first for me, before anybody else. And the reminder, inshallah ta'ala, is about the self. In today's program, inshallah ta'ala, be an amazing program with more qualified, better speakers, inshallah, to come, many of my teachers. But the program today is about victory and how do we attain or how do we strive on the path of victory. And the first path, inshallah ta'ala, as you walk through each path or each step or each stage, the first stage of victory is the stage of the self. Victory within the self. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He makes it clear for us, there's a law in the book of Allah Azza wa Jal that defines this victory, whether it's any victory that can come at a large scale will always start at the individual scale with each person. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will never change or give any victory or any success or any benefit to any nation or any congregation or any large group of people if the individual parts themselves are not successful. That's Allah Azza wa Jal puts in His book. And so our success as a community, as an ummah, begins with the success of the self. Each and every single one of you and myself and every individual, success is measured by the individual parts. And so Allah Azza wa Jal, in one highlight, inshallah ta'ala, it's going to be kind of the focal point of my talk. Allah Azza wa Jal highlights the success of the individual, of each person in one very, very easy, we've all memorized it. It's my daughter's favorite surah. She memorized it over the summer, Surah Al-Shams. Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Al-Shams, He puts clear, bold statements how success is attained for the self. What is victory of the self? Allah Azza wa Jal, and of course we can go through it, and we've all memorized it, but Allah begins with a series of oaths on parts of His creation, namely creation that's in the horizon, that's in the universe. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا. And Allah Azza wa Jal continues to swear by all of these magnificent things, and of course this has a science in and of itself of why Allah swears by these things and their purpose, and that's not the intent of my talk. Probably Nu'man's, Ustad Nu'man's or somebody's. But Allah Azza wa Jal then gets to the point of وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. And as for each and every individual person, Allah Azza wa Jal swears by وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and Allah Azza wa Jal swears by the one who created and designed and made all of those souls, all of those persons. Allah Azza wa Jal swears by them. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. And here, taswiyah, or the balance that Allah Azza wa Jal created to each nafs, the balance, the perfect symmetry of each soul that Allah Azza wa Jal created many, many, many light years ago. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us a perfect symmetry. A perfect balance. And so the first level, or the first thing we'll discuss about success or victory at an individual level, is the balance of who you are. What are you? And who are you? And who is me? And what am I? Allah Azza wa Jalla defines us as several different parts in the Quran. And of course, I study psychology because I believe that the study of the self, the person, is what Islam tries to develop. If we change individuals, we change the world. And so the science of the individual is really important to study. What are we? Allah Azza wa Jalla defines us as 4 main things that make up the nafs. The qalb, the heart, or the emotional elements of who we are. The aql, the mind, or the intellect. The jasad, the body, or the physical being of who we are. And all of those are earthly. And then, of course, the special sauce, the special McDonald's sauce on the Big Mac. I haven't eaten a Big Mac in a long time. We'll talk about physical health in a bit. But the special ingredient of our existence is the ruh, the soul, that Allah Himself blew into our father Adam. Those 4 elements are what make us up. They are the elements of who we are. And I'll talk about this, inshallah ta'ala, in kind of towards the second part. But those are the balance that Allah Azza wa Jalla perfected. They are not individual components. They overlap in many ways. And they alter and affect each other in many ways. But the nafs, that's who we are. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And every nafs, intrinsically, in and of itself, it knows that there are 2 paths. As some of the scholars mention, طَرِيقِ الْخَيْرِ وَطَرِيقِ الشَّرِّ. There is the path of fujur, extreme rebellion, extreme transgression. And then there's the path of taqwa. Beautiful word we always know and define, but the path of protecting yourself, your being, your well-being to an extremely high level, to avoid punishment. That's taqwa. So both paths, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, the nafs automatically is giving the inclination to know it can go right or left. It can go good or bad. It knows that. That's free will. The free will of ourselves. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla says, the last part of the explanation of the success or victory of the self, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. He is in complete and utter victory or success, the one who performs something called tazkiyah or zakkaha, the process of purifying and cleansing. What is Allah Azza wa Jalla referring to? Aflaha means when the farmer is about to reap what he's sown, what he's worked so hard, many days. In Texas, you understand maybe what farms are. Brooklyn, like a farm to us is a plant on the window, right? That's the farm. But in the terminology of the Arabs that Allah is talking to them, aflaha or fallah, right? We say that Palestinians, Egyptians, right? The fallah is the dude that lives on the farm, man. It's like rough around the edges. But he rejoices and he understands success so much when he works so hard for so many months and then he reaps the fruits that he sowed. That's success to him. That's victory for him. That's the way that Allah describes success to us. And victory of the self is for the one that is constantly and always working on purifying and fixing him or herself. Victory is in the process. Number 1, how do we attain victory of the self? It's in the process of improving ourselves. Victory is not an event. It's not a graduation. It's not a moment. The only instance where we truly attain victory, and Abu Bakr, he defines it so perfectly. He says, when both my feet are in Jannah, it's like, that's it. It's good. Eternal bliss internally and externally for the rest of existence. But when one foot is in, you haven't felt success. You haven't tasted victory yet. The whole way until we get to 2 feet in paradise, we are in the process of attaining success. The process. It is the process That is success. And subhanAllah, happiness, one of the definitions of happiness or feeling success in your life is when you are always working and improving yourself. And you know what the default state of people are? Is to have themselves sitting. Life, for many people, is a process of sitting and waiting. Waiting to get married, waiting to get a job, sitting at work just waiting for the check, sitting and waiting for things to happen, and then we just sit and wait to die. Many people, unfortunately, they are living life waiting to die. Just a matter of when the date becomes that day. It's just a matter of when it gets stamped on their death certificate. They're just waiting to die. But success and victory in life comes when you don't wait for things to happen. You are constantly in the process of improving yourself. Tazkiyah of yourself. What is the tazkiyah of? The 4 parts that I mentioned. What is your emotional state? What kind of emotional state are you in? Do you get angry a lot? Do you get depressed a lot? Do you get sad a lot? And for us in our society, it's really easy when we have issues. They give you a pill and numb your emotions. They numb the neurotransmitters that are going off and the hormones that are going off, and they'll make sure, oh, you're sad? Take a pill. Pfizer will give you something. These drug companies, they'll drug us so much so until we're dead, emotionally. But emotional progress, the qalb, the heart, how Allah just speaks about the improvements of the heart and how we improve our emotional states. Number 2, our physical states. Success cannot be attained until you are constantly improving your physical state. How good do you feel when you fast during Ramadan, at the end of Ramadan, physically? How good do you feel when you work out, the dopamine that's kicking in your body? How good do you feel when you've lost 15 pounds or when you've gained some muscle? You feel so great about yourself. But the natural state, if you're not working to improve, is that you're on default. You're waiting for the blood pressure to come. You're waiting to be diagnosed with diabetes or heart rates. It's the first time in the history, in any generation in American history, that the expectancy rate of our parents is lower, ourselves, my generation, life expectancy is lower than its parents. And that mostly has to do with health. The astronomical, we have more money, more food, more resources, natural resources than any country on the face of the earth, yet our diabetes, our blood pressure, and our cancer rates are astronomical compared to everybody else. It's the physical state, your physical being, your well-being, what you eat and what you ingest and how you treat your body. Number 3, and very, very important, is your mind, your intellectual state. How much do you feed your brain? How much do you work on advancing your mind? How much do we grow our minds and our intellects? And number 4, and last but not least, of course, and it's always associated with tazkiyah, is the soul, the process of purifying the soul. These 4 elements, they are not, and especially when you take psychology or you learn psychology, sometimes scientists want to divide everything up like it's separate pieces. But they all overlap. They're all interconnected in many ways. Your emotional state, even if your spiritual state is perfect, if you're emotionally unstable, there's something wrong with you. If you are physically unfit, your spiritual state will be affected. They all interlinked many ways. So this process of purifying and improving those 4 parts is the first step in victory. The second step, inshallah ta'ala, the process of victory. It's not an event, it's a process. Number 2, in all those parts that we mentioned. Number 2, step the path towards victory of the self is that we are responsible for ourselves. We decide which way we want to go. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. There is a clear responsibility Allah places on every nafs that it is responsible for what direction it takes. No one can control you but you. There are ways that you can be manipulated, aka Donald Trump, right? Easy to manipulate people. Fear, persuasion, many different ways that you can manipulate people's decisions. But at the end of the day, people's decisions are their responsibilities. We decide whether we want to be angry today or not. We decide what is our outcome when somebody cuts us off, or somebody beeps at me when I'm at the red light, or somebody cuts me off, or my children are screaming, or I'm about to yell at my wife. We decide what decisions we will make. It sounds very simplistic, but life is nothing but a series of decisions. We make them every single day. Many times, when you learn, subhanAllah, again, the study of the self and the brain, many times we go into heuristics. We naturally just do things. And without thought, when too much of our mind is on, cruise control, we don't realize that we've been driving for a long time, but we have no idea where we're going. We'll just keep doing the same things. Life is about controlling it. The nafs, your soul, is yours. You make the decisions. You choose success in life. You choose if you want to fail in life. You don't fail because of a professor or because of a situation or a circumstance. You don't fail because we always like to blame others. We fail because we've many times decided that we want to fail. And we submit to that failure. So the victory of the mind is extremely important. That we make the decisions that lead to our path towards victory, inshallah ta'ala, as individuals. Last but not least, and I'll end with this, you can have a balance in your life and know the process. You can understand that I am in control of the process. But at the end of the day, something that is extremely strong in moving you is, where are you going? Where is your direction in life? And subhanAllah, for many people, again, across the planet, they don't have a direction. As Muslims, one of the greatest blessings that we have is Allah is giving us the end point. He's given us the destination. Many people, they don't have a destination. They don't have a purpose. Allah Azza wa Jalla invested in that first generation so much time, giving them that vision of something so much greater, that it was so strong, it was so motivating, they didn't have to be pushed towards it. You get pushed towards school, and you get pushed towards Quran class, and I'm always getting pushed to eat my vegetables, and I'm always getting pushed. But it's so much stronger when motivation comes from a pull. Something is pulling us. Something is motivating us towards something much bigger. Motivation in life, subhanAllah, again, a big science and big words, and I apologize. They're all parts that we can discuss. But motivation in life is the most important thing that we have. And unfortunately, when I graduated from college, and many people, your children, when they graduate from college, you see that there's a huge drop in our motivation in life. For so long, I've always been motivated, get the grade, get to the high school, get to the college, get the degree, got married, got the paycheck. That's it. I don't have any greater meaning or purpose in life. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know why I live. I became a robot to the system and just do the same old same every day. That motivation, that drive, that purpose of being is extremely important for people to find. It leads us towards an amazing success. SubhanAllah, all the companions, and I talk about the Prophet ﷺ and the amazing work that he did with the companions, but they all had an amazing drive. They all had a mission every day, and great leaders, this is what they do as well. The Prophet ﷺ being the greatest leader ever, he changed the landscape of the people that he was around because he gave them a motivation that wasn't only Jannah and the Akhirah, which is really important. That was the purpose. But they all had life goals that they wanted to achieve. Things that they wanted to leave behind, a legacy that they envisioned not only for their kids, but for millions and billions of people that would come much after. That motivation is extremely important to have. It shapes victory of the self. And if we don't have that, wallahi, you should spend, for parents, you spend maybe $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. Young professionals, we spend so much money on masters and PhDs. I would pay all the money in the world to find or to have people have a motivation in life. It's worth all the money in the world. The degree is not the purpose. It's what you will do with your life and what you will die with at the end of your life. That is what should wake you up in the morning and give you energy. SubhanAllah, many things that can influence that, people and different things can influence motivation, but it must come from within. Cannot manipulate it, cannot fake it, it must come from within you, and that is the strongest motivation, the pull, not the push. And Allah Azza wa Jal, even Jannah, Allah Azza wa Jal promises Jannah and the eternal bliss of Jannah, but the motivation, that's just a thing. Jannah is just a thing. What is the true motivation? It's Allah's pleasure. Jannah is a result of Allah's pleasure. The greatest thing that we will ever experience is seeing Allah and having Him pleased with us. That's the true motivation. So something that is pulling us constantly, those three things, the process, your decisions, and the motivation, those three elements are essential towards the victory of the self. And inshallah ta'ala, I don't know how much time I have, but I know Sheikh Yasser is here, so I'm going to step down. The story, I always tell the story to young people, but it kind of inspires, victory of the self. Many times in life, we can always be demeaned. People, hurdles, roadblocks, the path to victory of the self, it's a difficult road, right? وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ Allah Azza wa Jalla even refers to these two paths and the difficult road. There's a high road and there's just many other roads. But Allah Azza wa Jalla, but the greatest thing that we can know is that we can make it through all those difficulties. And this beautiful story that Sheikh Sahib Webb once mentioned to us in a class, and it was about a young man that lived in Muslim Spain, Andalus. And his name was Muhammad bin Amr al-Mansuri. So he was a young man, and his entire life was miserable, no victory, right? No success in life. So his father was a donkey man, and his great-grandfather was a donkey man, and his great-great-grandfather was a donkey man. And he was a donkey man. What is a donkey man? Essentially, a donkey man was a person that used to put the mahal, the Kroger, on a donkey, right? And you walk around the streets, and you're selling the supermarket on the donkey, right? Walking on the street, and he sells products. That's his whole life. He sits down with his friends. Long story. He sits down with his friends every day. Guys, what are we? We're donkey men. His friend is a donkey man. The other friend is a donkey man. Everybody he knows is a donkey man, right? Everybody's a donkey man. So one day, he comes up to his friends. He's like, guys, life sucks, right? Let's do something about this. Come on, like this can't be life. There's got to be more to life than this. He had motivation. So his friend said, come on, Muhammad, our fathers are donkey men. Everybody around us is donkey men. We're the qadar of Allah is that we should be donkey men, right? The submission to other things. So Muhammad told them, listen, guys, I'm not having it. I'm leaving this business. I'm going to go, and I envision myself being the Khalifa of Al-Andalus. I envision myself being the leader of Muslim Spain. So his friends laughed, right? As we LOL, lots of O's, right? ROTFL, right? Lots of O's as well. Like, come on, Muhammad. It ain't happening, man. Come on. Don't play games. He's like, no, serious. Listen, guys. I'm going to be the Khalifa of Al-Andalus. But listen, if I became the Khalifa, let's say I became the Khalifa, what would you ask me for? What would you want from me? So the first one said, okay, we'll play your game. So he's like, listen, if you became the Khalifa, God forbid, we would give me a stable of horses. Like a garage of Ferraris and Lamborghinis, right? Like, give me a stable of horses. I love horses. Second man said, okay, what would you ask me? He's like, listen, give me acres of land. I want to grow my own, I want to have my own huge investments and huge business. He's like, okay, cool. Third man, he's like, yo, man, what would you ask for? He's like, yeah, Muhammad, if you became the Khalifa of Al-Andalus, I want you to tie me up, put my hands behind my back, put a blindfold on me, put me on this dumb donkey right here, his donkey, and push me in the streets and have the people throw these vegetables at me. And I will tell them, how dumb are you people for having Muhammad as your Khalifa? That's what I'm going to do. So, Muhammad joined the police rank, worked his way up to chief, lieutenant, chief, worked his way up all the way to the defense minister of Qurtuba, the capital city, worked his way up to the defense minister of all of Al-Andalus, worked his way up and eventually became the Khalifa. Lots of hard work, process, right? Things that happen, difficult times, struggle, got to the position, came back to his hometown, walked into the masjid of his hometown and he told his guards, guys, my 3 friends, they're sitting in the same place. They're drinking the same drinks. They're talking about the same things. In 35 years, nothing has changed. Go get them. So they went and they got there. His friends from his old hood came back. Yo, Muhammad, what's going on? How you doing, man? What's going on, kid? Good. So I was like, hey, you guys remember when we were young and we sat down together and, we talked about, if I became the Khalifa, I'm here. Look at this. I'm here. So do you guys remember what you asked for? So he looked at the first man like, yeah, I remember. I told you if you became the Khalifa, give me a stable of horses. He said, guards, give this man a stable of horses. You get a car, right? I mean, you get the stable of horses. Go ahead. Second man, you remember what you asked for? Like, yeah, acres of land. It's like, guards, give this man give him that business that he wanted. Third man, you remember what you asked? It's like, no, man, what you talking about? I don't remember what you. What did we say? Like so long, and I didn't post anything. Like I got to look through my timeline. Hold up, Muhammad. Let me flip through this. It's not my iCloud. He's like, no. You remembered what you said. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah. No, I don't. I don't remember. It's like, okay, you said that I should put you on a donkey, tie you up, and have people throw vegetables at you. Guards, tie him up, put him on his donkey, and I want you to tell the people, Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allah has the power and the ability and the might to do anything that He desires at any time to any individual. Because at the end of the day, the process of improving and bringing victory to ourselves is not something that we control. It's something that we put the effort in for, but the tawfiq and the true victory and the true success of that comes from Allah, the Most High, the Most Exalted, the Most Merciful. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us victory in our life, to allow us to live a balanced life, to allow us to understand the process of improving ourselves, to give us a motivation that drives us not only towards Jannah, but towards seeing His glorious, majestic face. Wa akhir da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Barakallahu feekum.
Jazakallah khair, Abu Maryam. For those of you who walked in a bit late, what are the 4 components that we have to take care of within ourselves that Rami alluded to at the beginning? First one is the heart. What else? The mind. What else? The body, the jasad. And the most important one was الروح. جزاك الله خيرا. طيب, unfortunately, the designers of the program did not put any flexing or stretching breaks. So we have 1 minute, exactly 1 minute before we start our next session. So we're going to use that 1 minute to move up away from our comfort zone. Everyone, picked a seat that doesn't have anyone around him or her. So if you don't mind, move up, sit closer to someone that you don't know, and say, Assalamu alaikum, my name is such and such. Brothers are not allowed to move here, sisters. So move next to someone, introduce yourself. It's part of the goal of the program. Including you, Amina. Sisters are doing that. The brothers are still in their comfort zone. Sahib, tamam. Tayyib, inshallah, if you can settle down. Jazakumullah khairan. So we're ready, inshallah, to move on to the next segment. So inshallah, a few housekeeping items, if you don't mind. As you may have been told at the registration, we do have babysitting in this room. We have a kids program in the building next door. We have another minute break, inshallah. We can socialize in that minute. And inshallah, during the break, we will have some food items and snacks in the back to munch on. For sale, yes, yes. Nothing for free here. Can we get going, inshallah, sisters and brothers? Abdurrahman, Adil. Okay, inshallah. So I would like to introduce, or before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to, on your behalf, welcome one of our imams, new imams in the community, Dr. Majid al-Sabki. Hayyakumullah, Shaykhna. He's the imam of the Makini Masjid. He's going to be addressing us, inshallah, shortly after Imam Siraj's session.